The greater good.
Hey everybody, Greater Good Mining here. So you might have seen some posts on X or YouTube videos lately that are talking about the AL3s and some power supplies that went bad and electrical cables that had overheated. So I wanted to just talk about it today and just kind of like do a general electrical safety tip video. And I wanted to talk specifically about the issues with the AL3s and basically just kind of give you guys a little bit of information about what happened yesterday and kind of like what we know so far. Before I get into it, do me a favor and hit the like button. It helps out more than you guys know. If you find the content helpful, please subscribe to the channel. That also helps. I've got tons of crypto YouTube content. And with that being said, let's get into the video. Yesterday on X, Tera Hosting posted that they were going to shut down the AL3s they have hosted there. And I have an AL3 hosted at Tera Hosting right now. So they said effective immediately, they're shutting down the Iceriver AL3 models. They said that the power supply is rated for 3,400 watts. And their units that they had at Tera Hosting were pulling like 3,600 watts. And they already had two power supplies that nearly caught fire, they said. So let me check out this picture. I'll show you real quick what he's talking about or what Tera Hosting is talking about. It says output 3,400 watts on the power supply. I've done videos in the past where I've ran overclocked KS3s at about 3,500 watts or so. Because I've heard and I've been told that technically with this model number BPH3640, the 3640 here apparently stands for 3,640 watts. Now, I don't really like that. I don't want to give anybody advice saying that this is what it's rated for. This is not my wheelhouse. This is Iceriver should, make these very obviously rated for what they're rated for. It says 3,400 watts right here. And that leads me to believe that that's what they're rated for. The other thing that is a little bit confusing with these power supplies is here's the picture that Tera Hosting showed of the kind of like melted input. And if you look here, it's upside down, but it says 200 to 240 volt. So if you check their website and if you look on the side of the power supply, it's saying 180 to 285 volt input. So it's just interesting to me that the power supply says it's rated for 180 to 285, but then the input plug itself has a stamp in the metal that's just 200 to 240 volts. So that maybe needs some clarifying too. I don't know why they would show different specs there for that. The point is they had two power supplies fail at Tera Hosting on the AL3. They said they'd keep everybody updated, and they did a lot of testing. And they also did a live stream yesterday. I'll show you real quick. Hawk and Mining King did a live stream, and there's some really good information in this live stream as well, if you want to watch that. I also reposted some information from Hobbyist Miner. He posted yesterday, and I retweeted that he spoke with Iceriver on the issue with the AL3s. They said it is firmware related. It is not handling the cold temperatures properly, and it's confusing the firmware, treating it like an overheating event. And they are planning to put a fix in place in the future firmware update, but there is no timeline. Tera Hosting then posted a little bit later in the day that they're hoping it's just an isolated incident with two units. They were concerned because of the previous issues that have happened with Iceriver units. If you have been watching my channel or watching other people's channels about the KS3Ms, I had a KS3M, the hash boards died because there was kind of poor quality control, poor thermal paste on the units, and they had shipped out when it was cold. And apparently that caused a lot of issues when these units were getting started up at hosting companies last November, I believe. And those units were dying. So out of an abundance of caution, Tera Hosting shut down the AL3s temporarily until they could get more information directly from Iceriver, assess the situation at their facilities that they have at multiple locations throughout the country. And they just wanted to make sure that nobody's units got wrecked, like what happened when there was tons of issues across the board with tons of hosting companies with the KS3M, and I had one fail myself. So I'm glad that they shut the units down for safety. I watch the equipment that I run at my own home very carefully and very closely. I check on it several times a day. I have had issues where a cable was very hot and there should be no reason for it. Some of the cables that you buy, they can go bad. So you really should be checking your equipment daily. I keep mine metered. I have metered PDUs. I also have meter boxes, and I watch the power consumption of each of the units that I run. It will tell you if you are having issues to some extent by telling you, like, are you pulling more wattage than you really should be on some of these miners? You really need to watch that, and you don't want to pull more than what every piece of equipment that you have is rated. The weakest link in the chain is what will fail, and it can cause a cascade of issues. You guys should keep a very close eye on your equipment, and check your cables. If they feel hot to the touch, that's a sign something's wrong. If your unit is pulling more power than it should be, you need to check on it. You need to keep the units clean. They will pull more power if the heat sinks are clogged up with dust and dirt and debris. So you need to clean your equipment frequently. Check on your power cables, check your power consumption daily. Watch your machines closely, especially if you're mining at home and you're like, I mine in my garage, and the garage is attached to my house. So you just have to be very careful with this equipment, especially newer equipment. The AL3 is a newer miner technically, and they're starting to get out into the wild now. So hopefully this is an isolated incident. We are talking about the issues in my Discord, in my dedicated Iceriver AL3 section, and they are keeping us updated in Tera Hosting's Discord if you want to join. And Hawk just posted to everyone, upon further review and speaking with Iceriver, we are going to power all AL3s on and monitor each unit closely to make sure we don't have any other issues. Just FYI, Iceriver is aware that a firmware update is needed, and they have no timeline yet for when that will happen. Hawk says, we appreciate everyone's understanding and patience while we ensure the safety of our operators and your equipment. I am glad that they took the precautions, shut down the units. It's not even been like a full day, like 24 hours. I don't think that mine's been down. I would rather have my miner down for one day while they investigate what's happening than have them run them and just have them die one after the other. So I want to thank Tera Hosting for being careful with my expensive equipment. I really appreciate that. They are looking out for you. On a lighter note, some people have asked me where I got my shirt from. It's like a Caspa ASIC shirt. I think it's pretty cool. I got it from the Hobbyist Miners merch store. So I'll leave a link to that in the description of the video. I think the shirt's pretty cool. So if you want one, check out Hobbyist Miners merch store, and shout out to Hobbyist. Thanks for the shirt, man. Please be careful when you're crypto mining. Check your equipment daily. Make sure you have the best cables and like the proper electrical setup that you can get, because the weakest link, like I said before, is what tends to fail. What seems to have happened here is a firmware issue that needs to be addressed by Iceriver, but it created an opportunity to just kind of quickly talk about some safety tips with crypto mining at home and crypto mining in general. If you guys are looking for quality hosting facilities, check out terahosting.io. They are the ones that this video kind of surrounded around, because they are the ones that took the time to investigate the issue with the power supplies failing on these Iceriver AL3s. They shut down the equipment to maintain safety, and they brought it to everyone's attention. So I really do appreciate Tera Hosting. So shout out to them. The link's in the description if you want to use them for your hosting services. I hope the video was helpful to you. I wanted to do this video real quick because I wanted to bring it to people's attention, the issues that the Iceriver AL3 might be having. And I wanted to just give some quick, like, generic tips for safety for crypto mining at home. So if you like the video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, consider using the links in the description of the video, and last but not least, don't forget to keep it decentralized for the greater good.
The greater good.